Let's get ready for Monday Mortgage Minute with your hosts, Tom McNamara and Bruce Woodburn.
All right. Happy Monday. One
It is
more
Monday.
day in the month of March. We're already into April coming up right around the corner. Man, this
That's
year's
right.
flying by.
Yeah. This year's moving quick for sure. I think it's just there's so much going on, man. So much going on.
Yeah.
So I've been really active this past week. I've got a lot of buyers that are actively looking. A few had started talking about taking some time off and I'm worried about rates because they were going up, and now they're back in the market because the rates
Yep.
are back down to low
They're
six.
coming back down. That's right.
They're back down in the low sixes, and I don't see any relief coming, and I don't see any horribleness coming right in the next little bit. Of course, you never know. World geopolitical stuff can happen and sets everything on fire again. But for the moment, I think we're good.
Yep. We'll take a quick look at the bond market today. We're up 31 points as of 10:30 today. That's a real positive. Let's just take a quick look at the chart. Look at where we are today. So now we go back to February 20th, 27th, when rates were the best. That's when we were down, and the average conventional rate was around 5.99%, but we just lost it. Now we could have a little bit of a comeback here, but we
Okay.
got a long way to go to get up to there. So it'll be interesting to see exactly where we end up going from here. But I think we're on the right track, and I think that there's hope in the market for all of us.
Yeah, I think so. And it's interesting that we talk a lot about like how's the market, what's up with the market, and I think the market is
The
a little bit.
market is perfect.
It's always perfect. But the market is currently bifurcated in two different ways. So what do I mean by that? First of all, the condo market is completely separate from the single family home market. Condos are way over here with almost a year's worth of inventory.
Yep.
And single family homes are in the 5 to 7 months, right? They're in the balanced market phase, which feels like a buyer's market only because we've had such a heavy seller's market from 2020 through about 2022,
So
right?
let's just break this down so we can see the advantages and the disadvantages, whether you're a buyer or seller. So
Sure.
let's just start with sellers. Okay. Sellers right now in Central Florida have an average time on the market of what? Like 80 days? Isn't that something like
Yeah, it's in the 8, depending on the area, right? Different micro markets, but anywhere from 60 to 120 days. Mhm.
right? So now, isn't it funny that you have a house on the market for 80 days and all of a sudden you got 5 offers at one time? I don't know what that's all
Happens
about.
all the time. And you know what's funny is it doesn't always happen like after a price drop, right?
No, it doesn't.
You would think it's like, oh, they've dropped the price and then they got a bunch of offers. Sure, that does happen. But I have a buyer that we're under contract on a house, but we had made an offer on one prior. And when we made the offer, it had been on the market for 80 days or so. And they got 2 offers the same day. And
Yep.
the other offer was a little bit better than ours, and we didn't get it, right? It's happening. But I can tell you the thing that I've noticed, that the general statement is, and this is goes for buyers and sellers, don't be greedy.
Don't be greedy.
Greedy
So
sellers are listing their house for 40, 50K high, right? Oh, we'll negotiate down. It doesn't work, right?
no, it doesn't.
And then greedy buyers are like going to come in and lowball everybody by 50, 80.
And ask for all
And that
kinds of
doesn't work
closing
either.
costs. No.
Right. So we have to be reasonable in what we ask for on both sides, because that's how you make it happen. Now I
Well, I
get
think
that if
some
it's
of that comes with doing a little bit of homework too. You can't be a buyer or a seller and just go, well, this is what I want for my house. Well,
yeah,
that doesn't
well,
make any sense. What
right.
are the houses selling for in that area? That gives you an idea. You got a house that's on the market for $400,000 and all the comps sold for 425, and you want to come in at 350. Come on, it's not going to happen.
And on the flip side, this, you can't have this as a seller. You can't be trying to sell it for 450, 475. It's just not going to happen. Just because you bought a new birdhouse and put it in the backyard doesn't make your house worth an extra 50 grand.
And a lot of people, it's not a birdhouse. I know that's being a little bit condescending.
A little
However,
bit.
we hear it all the time. I've redone my kitchen. I've redone the floor. I put a new roof on. Okay. Those things don't give you more. They give you what you should be getting. It's general maintenance. You don't get more money because you put a roof on. It's just, you needed a new roof.
You get more for putting a new roof on than if you didn't put it on, but you get what you should get. Whereas with a bad roof, you
My
get less
point.
than you should get.
That's my
So
point.
yeah. So it's usually a wash, like putting a new roof on, the 10 grand or 15 grand it costs you to put a new roof on is about what you're going to get more or less as a, as a more or less for not doing it. I mean, that is what it is. To your point, that's general maintenance. And I've got solutions. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to replace the roof because I don't have the money. I have solutions for that. I have roofers that'll do
Absolutely.
that.
We can get it replaced and you can pay for it at closing. We can
Correct.
do a 203K rehab. We can do a conventional rehab. There's all kinds of options we can
There's
have.
all kinds of options. And I'll tell you one thing that I will say, and where sometimes greedy sellers win, right? I have some buyers that I have under contract and the seller just would not budge. They would not budge on anything. We
But if
asked
the
for,
buyer wants the house bad enough,
they did. They wanted the house bad. And it's a nice house, but I think they're overpaying a little bit. It's my opinion. But they love the house. They love the area. They want it. And so you wouldn't negotiate much at all. And then after we were under contract and we had an inspection, he's refusing to do any repairs.
yeah, they don't want to do anything.
And one of them's a literal required repair. It's the plumbing is completely wrong. My plumber said, I'm like, I got 3 other plumbers that said that is out of code.
That retreats.
Your handyman plumber is not a plumber. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
The thing is that people need to be realistic in both selling, getting the right price for your house, and buying. And how much you need to get out of your house has no bearing on how much your house is worth.
No, it has no bearing. You can want whatever you want. I want to be an astronaut, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, there you go.
So-
But I think if people are reasonable, a lot of the houses that I sell, the people are reasonable. We're under contract in less than 60 days and we're closed in less than 90. And that's where you want to be, right? It's not 2021 where you get
Don't
30,
be greedy.
38
Don't
offers.
greedy. Everything should end up being a fair deal. And when one person's greedy, they usually won't get it. Now, that doesn't mean you can't hold off and negotiate. I see a
Absolutely.
lot of realtors that just don't know how to negotiate that and they leave money on the table. That's something that you work hard to do. You're always sharpening your tools, making sure that whoever you're representing is getting good representation. But good representation doesn't mean that we're just going to negotiate ourselves right out of a deal, too, because that can happen as well.
Absolutely. And the other thing that this is where a lot of agents, I think, falter, right? Especially these days with the market being like it is, right? On both sides of this, because our commission is all negotiable, right? That everybody knows that. And, at some point, do you take one for the team and take a little bit of a cut so that your buyer wins or your seller wins? And sometimes you need to stand firm because you need to negotiate your own pay, right? We don't want to work for free. And so again, we as agents need to not be greedy and help the transaction happen. I don't want to always give money, but I'm sometimes willing
We
to do
also
that.
want to make sure that we all come to the table, because if we don't win,
That's
now
right.
that doesn't mean, and I see realtors they'll jump up as soon as they see the buyer needs a little bit more money. The seller's not going to pay for that. As soon as they go pitch in, I'll pitch in. Will everybody else pitch in? Hang on. Let's look for some other alternatives
That's right.
before we all start giving up all of our money. There's not as much money in the deals anymore as they used to, at least not on the lending side. On the real estate side, maybe there is. I think even your commissions are cut. It used to be pretty standard. You'd get 3% for each team. Now that's a little harder to get every time, right?
It is.
It-
It is.
it-
And that's okay. I make a good living. I try to make sure that I help as many people as possible. I will tell you that I just told you about the seller that's unwilling to do repairs. His agent is paying for that plumbing repair because he refused to. Now it's
Well,
costing her like $400. It's not that big of a deal, but it's $400 that he just refused to do. And she wants to get the sale because honestly, she said he's a bit of a pain. So she wants to be done with him.
we find things that are worth the money for us. And sometimes having a client that is an energy vampire, or they're
Energy
just
vampire.
don't
Mhm.
listen to your professional opinion, then maybe we just need to cut bait and move on and do what you got to do and get the next buyer or seller under your belt.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
so the point here is if you're a buyer, you want to come in with the strategic approach to your negotiation. What are homes going for? How long's the home been on the market? What is the motivation of the seller? Sometimes understanding that, and I don't think a lot of agents dig deep enough to discover what's the motivation of the buyer, what's the motivation of the seller, so that you can use that to help yourself negotiate. If I know that somebody's already moved out of the house, they've already moved it up to West Virginia for a new job, and that house is vacant and they got a mortgage on it, they probably are going to be motivated to get out of it. If it's free and clear and they're retired and they'll be like, I'll just rent it again.
Yep.
You might not have as motivated as a seller.
You don't have your leverage. That's right.
You don't have any leverage. So you want to find out where they call that a black swan in negotiation. Uncover the black swan so you can determine how you can properly negotiate.
That is absolutely right. That is absolutely right. I love negotiating classes. They're fun.
Yep. And if you want to read a good book, Never Split the Difference. Amazing book. One of my all-time favorites. I've read it many times over and I always get something out of it.
I've never read it, but I've listened to it 13 times.
Yeah.
It's on in the background in my car quite often.
It's amazing. Look, listen, I want to thank you for this. I've got a lot out of this. I think if you're listening to our podcast, be careful when it comes to negotiation. Don't leave money on the table, but don't be greedy. Pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. Don't be greedy. Be professional and make sure that everybody wins. When you look out for everyone, everyone wins, not just one.
That's right. 100%. Always shoot for the win-win.
Have a great week.
You have a great week yourself, Bruce.